Thank you all for coming out today. We've got an election coming up in less than a month. And a lot of people are saying it's a midterm election, they aren't paying much attention, and a lot of people are even saying, I'm not even going to vote. We had such high energy for the election for president 2 years ago, but now people are feeling demoralized because of the economy and all the other things the news media keeps cramming down our throats. But I believe this is the most important election we've faced, at least in my lifetime, and I want to share with you a couple of the reasons why I believe that to be the case. And I don't mean the national election, I mean the California election. We're going to elect the governor who will lead our state for the next 4 years. And the most critical qualification for any job, whatever it is, has got to be experience. When you go and fill out a resume to get a job, and you have an interview, what's the first question they ask you? What's your experience? Well, when we look at the governor's race, there's only one person who has the experience to lead California, especially in this troubling time, and it's Jerry Brown. So let's take a look at the man's resume. He was twice governor in the 1970s and led California, and as governor, left the state with a $5 billion surplus. Isn't that a novel idea we might like to see in government today? Then he was mayor of a big city. He was the mayor of Oakland, a city that's been known more often for its crime and shootings, but under Jerry Brown became a hub for the clean tech sector. It became the fourth greenest city in the United States, Oakland, little old Oakland, under Jerry Brown's leadership. And after being mayor, he went into the judiciary branch and has served as Attorney General for the state of California, where again, he didn't just stand still, but he innovated. As a result of Jerry's work as Attorney General, now anytime the state government is doing something, building a highway, planning some new subdivision, they have to take into account the impacts the project might cause on climate change. Gee, we consider environmental impacts. Might it not be a good idea to consider the most fundamental environmental impact of all? And if that's not enough, he ran for president twice in the 1980s. The man has seen all levels of government, from the governor's position to the attorney general to local government as mayor, and to even see the national stage in running for president. In contrast, we've got Meg Whitman, who has never run for elected office in her life. Moreover, she didn't even bother to vote most of her life. She didn't even register to vote until she was in her 30s, and then she voted once in a presidential race in the 80s. And in the last decade, when she has been registered to vote, she's voted less than half the time. What kind of a message does that send to people? That if you can't fulfill your most basic duty as an American to vote, that you should then automatically be qualified to have the highest office in the biggest state in the union, that is the 8th largest economy in the world. I'm a little sensitive to that issue because growing up, my grandmother lived with us. She came over to America as an immigrant when she was a little girl, never learned to read or write, but she made damn sure that she voted in every single election. And she figured out what the names looked like written out so that she knew which of her people she wanted to vote for. And when she was old and barely able to walk, I was 16. And she asked me to drive her down, and I'd help her into the voting booth. She would have never thought of missing an election. And when I turned 18, everybody's excited about getting fake IDs when you're a kid. I kind of wanted one early because I wanted to be able to vote. Call me geeky, but given that the government was able, when I turned 18, to send me off to war, but I wasn't considered legally responsible enough to be able to even buy a beer, I thought it was pretty important for me to speak up, to represent the voice of the younger people in America who have the most future and the most to lose by what our politicians do today. Voting is critical, and for a candidate to not even bother to do that, that's just wrong. But again, it comes down to voting. Don't be like Meg. Vote. Because if you don't vote, you end up with a government that is the last thing you ever wanted. And for all the folks that are coming out of college and that are going to be looking at a future and trying to figure out what that future holds, it's going to be as bleak as it's been unless we can get people together and get things moving. And that's what we need. And a voting majority is powerful. A silent majority is powerless. Step into action, vote, and get people engaged, because we have more to lose in this election for the future of the planet, for the future of our economy, and the future of our jobs than we ever have before. And the man to get that done is the man who has the most experience, has been in all levels of government, and is passionate about getting right things done without concern for ideology, Jerry Brown. Thank you.